Good afternoon.
Yes.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You can be seated. And when you're seated, please state your full name.
My name is Deborah Hixson, Hixon.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Hixson.
Afternoon.
Are you the wife of Christopher Hixson?
I am.
And I'd like to show you what's been marked, the State's Exhibit 68. It's been marked into evidence. Can you identify this, please?
Yes, that's my husband, Chris Hixon.
Would you please show it to the jury? Thank you. Mrs. Hixson, was Christopher Hixson the athletic director and the campus monitor at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School on the date of the incident in this case?
Yes, ma'am, he was.
Thank you. And did you prepare a statement to be shared in front of the jury today?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Would you please read it for us?
Chris Hixon was a father of 2 sons, Tommy and Corey, a husband, a son, a brother, an uncle, a nephew, a cousin, and a friend. He was also the security monitor and athletic director at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. His loss did not only affect our family, it affected the entire community, as he was a mentor to many of his peers and many students, as well as a coach for many years at various schools across Broward County. We all miss him. We miss his smile. We miss his crabbiness. We miss his compassion. But mostly we miss the sense of safety and security that he gave to everyone around him. For our family, his loss has left a hole in our very tight family unit, one that will never be filled. He was not just a father to our special needs son, Corey. He was his best buddy. They were always together, and our life centered around the athletic activities Chris and Corey were involved in. He was not just my husband, but my life partner. He was the person I planned my entire adult life around. All of my plans, my dreams, they were centered around the life we made together that began in 1988. He was my best cheerleader and my strongest critic, always pushing me to be the best version of myself. Nothing is the same now. Music, parties, food, TV shows. I just can't seem to really enjoy anything the way that I used to. The house that we shared doesn't feel like the home that we built because home meant Chris. Going to an empty bed is a constant reminder that he's gone. The night no longer brings intimacy and comfort, just the loudness of the silence. Chris will always be the love of my life, and I am blessed for the amazing life that we shared. We made a beautiful family together, and I will be forever grateful to him for making my life such an adventure. But I'm heartbroken that our journey ended too soon. We weren't done making memories, sharing our dreams, or living our life together. I would like to take a moment to tell you why Chris was so special. He played a variety of sports in high school, and although he was not the superstar on the team, he was always the most dedicated. After he graduated from high school, he joined the Navy and spent the next 6 years of his life serving our country as an active duty sailor. It was in 1998 that we met at a wedding of a mutual friend, and we were married on July 14th of 1990. In 1991, he was deployed to the Persian Gulf to serve in Desert Shield and Desert Storm. He transitioned into the Naval Reserves in 1992 and retired from the reserves in 2013. He loved being in the Navy and was so proud to serve his country. In the later part of his reservist service, he was trained and served as a military police officer, something he was very proud of. In the first 8 years of our marriage, we not only began our own family, but we also took care of my mother, who was bedridden for 5 years, and my grandmother for the next 3 years, who had Alzheimer's. Chris never complained about sharing our home and life with them, and he always was there to help take care of them and support them in any way that he could. Once Chris got out of the Navy in 1992, he began his employment with the school board as a maintenance worker, and a few years later he was offered the position of security monitor and athletic director at Blanche Ely High School. This job would mean that he would take a cut in pay, but he really wanted to be able to work with students and share his passion of sports with them, so he took the job. He was passionate about sports and loved sharing that passion with his athletes. He was a great leader to his coaches and a true role model for the athletes. If there was a sport that didn't have a coach, he would step in without getting paid and serve as the coach. Being an athletic director meant he spent a lot of time at school and away from home, but he always included our children in his activities so that they could spend time together. Corey misses this special time with his dad. He loved going to games with him and being his special assistant. Chris stood out as a security monitor through the respect and care that he had for the students. He understood that sports were important in the students' lives, and he used it as a way to teach them life lessons. Teamwork, conflict, camaraderie, discipline, perseverance, and commitment. All skills that would help them become successful in life after high school and sports. He knew students and student athletes on a personal level, as he was always roaming the halls and talking to them about their school life and home life. If a student forgot their lunch money or couldn't afford it that day, he would give them money to ensure they ate. If they needed a pencil or a notebook, they could always get one from his office. But most importantly, if they just needed someone to talk to, he was there to listen and help guide them in the right direction. His loss has left us broken. We have a void in our lives that will never be filled. He was an extraordinary man living an ordinary life, and everybody who was lucky enough to have a relationship with him is better because of it.
Thank you. The state's going to call Corey Hixson. Hello, Mr. Hixson.
Say hi. Tell her hi.
Yeah.
Do you want to ask him his name, Judge? You can.
Okay. Look at the judge.
Corey,
Yes.
do you want to raise your right hand?
Oh,
Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yeah.
Okay, thank you. You can put your hand down. Now, will you turn around and tell the jury your name? These ladies and gentlemen right there. Tell them what your name is.
Boy, Hixson.
Good afternoon. Mr. Hixson, is your father Mr. Christopher Hixson?
Yeah.
And is there something that you'd like to tell the jury about your dad?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's okay. Tell her.
I messed up.
Is there something about donuts that you want to tell us?
What was your favorite thing to do with Daddy?
Yeah.
Tell her.
You can tell us.
Every Saturday we went to Denny Donuts and walked back.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Come on.
We'll need a few minutes for the next witness.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we just need to set up, the next witness is going to testify via closed circuit TV. And we just need a few minutes to set the equipment up. So please, we'll take a very short recess. And please leave your notepads behind. Please do not discuss the case. You all know the rules by now. Thank you. The jurors have been excused. Everyone else may be seated. Ms. McCann, is there anything that you need me to do?
I'm going to have to ask Aaron that question.
Okay. I could probably take a look at his identification ahead of time
Okay.
so that I can swear him in. He's going to bring...
I think we should probably swear him. Just
I appreciate that, but I think that I have to identify him by some way. Whatever you need to do.
okay. Thank you.
So, but we know how the jury is going to see this person, right?
should be coming up now.
Okay, I can see him. So, I think he's
Yeah,
muted.
he can see you now. He should be able to see you.
It says, sir, can you unmute yourself, Mr. Hixson? There.
Yes.
Okay, great. Can you see me?
You're kind of quiet, but I can hear you.
So, how about now? Can you hear me now?
A little bit better.
Just a little bit? What microphone do I speak in?
That one.
This one?
Yes.
Okay, how about now?
Better.
I haven't done the whole Zoom thing in a while, so bear with me.
No worries.
Sir, would you please do me a favor and put your driver's license or identification up on the screen so that I can have a look at it, identify you, and then... Now I remember the Zoom problems because I can't see it. You might have to hold it
Oh,
down.
sorry.
No.
Hold on, let me unblur the background real quick.
Okay. You might have to hold it back just a bit towards you. A little closer maybe? Now I remember, this is what Zoom was like. Okay. Any suggestions for my tech people? Because I can't do that.
Say for the Zoom in it.
I just have to read the first one. I see the picture. I recognize that's you.
But the thing is, this camera is on his.
Okay, does it say Thomas Emmanuel Hixson?
Yes.
And would you just hold it over just a little bit? H250-825-92045 Florida driver's license. Is that correct?
Sorry, can you say that again?
That's okay. I was just saying, this is your Florida driver's license number H250-825-92045.
Correct.
Okay. So I've identified the individual by his driver's license. So we won't need that anymore. You can go ahead and put it away. And then when the jury comes back in, I can swear you in now that I've seen your identification.
Judge, as a preliminary matter,
Thank you.
in order to comply with the Aspenu case, I want to ask Mr. Hixson if he can see the defendant and the defense table. Are you able to see the defendant and the defense table, Mr. Hixson?
I don't think he heard you. Did you hear the prosecutor speaking to you, sir?
No, I can't hear from that far away.
Is your mic on? Your mic is on?
We're trying to figure this out. I apologize. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
It was on green. Can you hear me, Mr. Hixson? No.
Testing. Can you hear that?
No.
Can't hear.
It's okay. I can sort of read your facial expressions and know that you can hear or not.
Oh, you can talk.
Mr. Hixson, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay. In order to comply with this case, the Aspenu case, I'm going to ask Mr. Hixson if he can see the defendant and the defense table clearly.
Yes.
You can. And do you see where the defendant is seated?
Yes, second from the left on my screen.
Okay. And I'm going to ask the defendant if he could see the witness, Mr. Hixson, in the screen.
Okay, Mr. Cruz, can you see Mr. Hixson in the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you hear him?
Yes, ma'am.
And can the defense team see Mr. Hixson in the screen in order to comply with the Aspenu case?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, can you bring the jury back
Yes,
in?
please.
All right, sir, give us just another minute or two. We're going to bring the jurors back in, okay? Mr. Hixson, can you hear me? He can. He can't hear me now.
No, he should be here.
Mr. Hixon, I can tell. He can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, you can. Okay. Maybe there's a delay.
I'm gonna crank your volume up.
Oh, Steve.
Try it again with him now.
Mr. Hixon, we're doing a test. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. As soon as the jurors come in, I will swear you in, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Does Judge Tudor always have to lean in like this? Okay, the jurors are present. Everyone else may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you should be able to see a young man in a blue suit on your screens. Raise your hand if you do not see that person. Okay, there's no one that has their hand raised. I'm speaking louder than normal because I have to make sure the witness can hear me, and I'm going to go ahead and swear him in. Sir, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. Please state your full name and spell your last name for the record.
My name is Thomas Emmanuel Hixson, Hixon.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hixson.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Hixson, you're appearing by Zoom, is that correct?
Yes.
And can you see me clearly?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Hixson, are you the son of Christopher Hixson?
I am.
And did you prepare a statement to be read in front of the jury for these proceedings?
I did.
Will you please share it with us now?
Yes.
Thank you.
Chris Hixon, to me, was first and foremost my father, but he was also a husband, a brother, an uncle, a godfather, a nephew, a cousin, a coach, a mentor, and a friend to many. While my dad held many titles throughout his life, a title that he will never get to hold now is grandfather. As my wife and I begin to start our family, my children will have to grow up without ever meeting their grandpa. Instead, they will be relegated to only knowing him through pictures and stories. This fact is something that has weighed heavily on my wife and I over the last 4 years. The loss of my dad has weighed heavily on me, and it's something that I have not fully recovered from and likely never will. Growing up seeing my dad serve our country and his community is what inspired me to follow in his footsteps of service. When I commissioned as an officer in the United States Marine Corps, my dad was my first salute. The first salute is a military tradition where a new officer chooses an enlisted member who has mentored them, inspired them, and motivated them throughout their journey to becoming an officer. For me, it was a no-brainer that my dad was that person. The last time he wore his uniform alive was at my commissioning in 2014. It was the same uniform that he was buried in 4 years later. The burden and honor of prepping his uniform for his funeral fell to me, taking hours to get it ready as it was never good enough for me. The creases not sharp enough, the awards not placed perfectly enough, the neckerchief knot never square enough, and the shoes not shined enough. A part of me knew that this was my way of saying goodbye, and I wasn't ready to do that. Military service was a bond we shared as father and son, and I was a better Marine and leader because of everything he taught me growing up. He served his country in uniform for 27 years as a member of the United States Navy, and he served just as long as an employee of Broward County Public Schools. As an athletic director and security monitor for 3 Broward County Public Schools over his career, my dad was able to teach, mentor, and inspire thousands of kids over his 26 years. He was known for being strict but fair in both of these capacities, yet he was also caring and took care of students who needed his help. While his caring was proven time and time again, they were particularly evident when he agreed to take in not 1, but 2 students who would have likely had to drop out of high school had he and my mother not taken them in during their time of need. His love of sports and the character it can teach kids and young adults was what he loved most about his job as an athletic director. But he also knew that academic success was just as important for these student athletes and strived to ensure that they knew that as well. His caring attitude also extended into his security monitor position, where he always strived to be the first person on the scene so he could help students no matter what was going on. Despite being in a position of authority as an adult working in a school, he strived to earn the respect of students instead of demanding it, a key aspect of any great leader and mentor. He did this by showing up to every sporting event he could and coaching sports that students couldn't find a coach for. Even though this meant many nights of reheated dinners in the microwave when he finally got home, to him it was worth it to be of service to his student athletes. My dad was an extraordinary man who lived an ordinary life, and he made a difference in the lives of countless numbers of students, friends, and family. He had given so much to his family, his country, his community, and his students, yet he still had so much more to give. His death has had and will continue to have a ripple effect on our family, our friends, and our community. Even though he should still be here with us making memories, he will always be remembered for his courage, his bravery, his leadership, his humility, and his humor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hixson.
Thank you, sir.
Sidebar, Your Honor.
Sure.